Where's that volume control? There we go. Let's just turn that off. Okay, stop. Rewind. Okay, good morning everybody. And today, let's get the other screen up. Get all the buttons to press. Oh my! I really do know a fourth screen here. It gets out of hand. Okay, so today we're going to do this again, which is there we go. Todd, g'day Todd. Say hello, Todd.
Hello, Todd.
Hello, Todd. Yeah, well, I don't know. Sort of, we're going to run this sort of format for a while to see how it flies. Anybody who wants to come and join us, come on. You just get your camera ready. The Discord link's down below. You can jump on there and make yourself known. We had sort of Mark. There he is. Mark, have you left yet or what? I thought you were on your way over here. We had Mark to join us last week. He's obviously ready to rock and roll. I don't know whether he's game enough to actually turn the camera on today, but maybe he might join us anyway. I did sort of say to Robert as well, come on, get on. But anyway, moving right along. I'm going to try to avoid talking about COVID this today. I wonder if we can actually do a COVID-free day. I think I've already mentioned it, so maybe that didn't work. So we got Stuart from Newey. G'day, Stuart. Malcolm K. Good morning, evening. Yes. And we got Robert Mack. Well, Robert Mack was here a bit early. And so was Alan and Mossy. G'day, Mossy. It's good to have a whole bunch of Australians on here. We do need to start doing sort of more time zones for Americans as well. I know, and even our English folks. Because when we did the walk around live stream at the house, was it last Saturday evening at 6 p.m, which we had a whole bunch of people come on, which was a really good stream. I think people enjoyed the walk around. I'll do another one, but this bloody thing here, this gimbal, I'm going to throw this out the window. I cannot make that thing work with any sort of. There we go. I'll go back to the original stick. You know, this is the one here, the manual stick. That way, when I point something, you know, at least when I know what I'm pointing at, I can point it at the right thing. You know. Anyway,
the old mono selfie stick.
Well, they work. You know, I can focus it, like, you know, so it might jiggle a little bit. Who cares? I'd rather just turn it there. Look at that. Turn it this way. Look at that. You know. Yeah. Well, maybe a few people join up. I actually haven't heard from Oggy for probably the last 4 or 5 days. I hope he's all right. But the last I was talking to Oggy, he was talking about, you know, there was something popping up in his world there where he was thinking of buying a house. For him and his mum to live in. There was something that he sort of come across. So maybe something's happening there. Who knows? Anyway, so
it'll keep him busy.
It will keep him busy. What I was going to do is I was going to. Let's start out the day. I was thinking, why don't we start out the day really good, and go and look at some pretty girls on Pattaya go-go bars. There we go. Get our audience woken up in the morning. She's got nice big eyes. What's her name? Beam.
Yeah.
Some nice. Oh, and of course I'm not sharing. You know, you should share it with Todd as well. So there you go. So he doesn't miss out. Yeah. So this. Is that AM 55, is it? AM number 55. She's got big eyelashes. That's a nice sunset. Bikini babes. I wonder where he stole that picture from. They look real. They don't look like silicone. Mm-hmm. Oh, now I'm starting to feel a bit more relaxed. What that sort of tattoo there is. It's got a name and a feather. Yes, she's a pin-up. Number 128. She's almost wearing a bikini bottom. Girls in love. And what do we got? It's a teddy bear. Yeah, we're looking at the eyes. Yeah, yeah. It's a US dollar and Australia going up so much against the Thai baht. Yeah, well, it'll go up for another few more months. Wazza, too slow. If you're entertaining guests, may I request a droopy eye. What's a droopy eye event? What would be, Todd? What's a droopy eye event?
Got me there, was it? Got me there.
It's all right. I've lost a feed. Pressed the wrong button. What's that one there? Little sailor girl. She's got some big ink on her. Ah, you can almost see what they had for breakfast. She's got a big smile. And that's the last of them. There we go. So, anyway, we'll just minimise that for the second. Just turn that back off again. Yeah, everybody woken? Everybody awake now? G'day Andy Stubbs, g'day. Zero Cool, g'day. Looks like I made it to the stream just in time for the lovely ladies. Yeah, we thought we'd just enlighten people, just wake everybody up for the first thing in the morning. I'm sorry, one thing I haven't done is I haven't got my little clock out there. I'm looking at. I'm Andy Stubbs. I'm working out in the man cave, but I'll be listening. Okay, right. Teddy bear. Now we've all got a big smile. Well, I hope you do. Yes, I do have an article I was going to talk about. To nice lady boys. I don't have any photos of any lady boys to. Well, if you do Google lady boys, they'd shut my screen down because all the stuff you'll find on a Google search is probably the sort of stuff I can't broadcast on YouTube. So you don't Malcolm K. So you don't disenfranchise the female audience. Maybe you need to show some female eye candy. Well, again, where you find this female eye candy, I wouldn't know where to start looking. Is it Chippendales?
You and I were enough for that, was it?
I thought, yeah, well, that's it. We're two handsome looking guys here for the females. There you go. I'm glad you said it, not me. And Paul and Sid.
Malcolm K just left it out there. He left it out there somewhere.
Somebody had to say it. So everybody from lockdown in Sydney, yeah. You guys there, with your lockdown, how many cases you got a day in Sydney at the moment? I haven't been paying attention.
Last time I saw there was 465 yesterday.
Oh, okay, 465.
I think that was what I saw on the news feed.
Yeah, so we got 23,000 yesterday or something. I think the numbers were. Yes, the numbers are going down. They're now predicting 40,000 for September. In daily figures of 40,000. Yeah, if only there was a vaccine we could offer to people. Well, they're offering it, but you can't seem to get it. A big news story is the fact that what we're saying is all this promise. I think we've got 32 million doses of the Pfizer coming in into Thailand, but we've only got 1.5 million here at the moment. But when's this Pfizer coming in? It's all media hype. It's coming. But yeah, it's not really helping. Like being on a plane is not helping it get out to the public, is it? And of course now we've got the riots, as you saw from last Saturday's live stream of the evening. Chanya was watching it down there on the TV. It's not looking like a happy place at the moment with the rebels. You might sort of call them the rebels. I can understand their disheartenment with the current regime, but again, I'm not sure exactly what they hope to achieve by running out in the street and getting shot with rubber bullets. The time zone saying, Alan said, you made it to ASQ, did you? You're actually over here at the moment, I believe. Is that right? You're in ASQ for 14 days or 10 days or something? I don't know. What's the ASQ doing? To Mossy, that's 465, 4 dead, yeah. Waz and Todd, g'day Malcolm. Wazza and Todd in bikinis, no thanks, exactly. I'll go with that. No. 21 in Melbourne and an extra week in lockdown. Geez, you knew the Stalag 13 down there, Colonel Clink. He's taking care of you guys, that's for sure. They're talking about more lockdowns here as well. I think they're meeting today or tomorrow to sort of propose going for another 2 weeks of forced incarceration here. Glenn Errington, g'day, how you doing? Pfizer and Moderna have raised their prices, unfortunately. Is that what it is? Okay. Just the only people making money these days are probably the people who finance the gain of function research. That's something I could talk about. Where's my Line account? Open that. That's it. Yeah, let's go to that chat group. Where is it? We were talking about this earlier this week, and I don't know which side of the fence people are on, but I thought, I don't want to talk about COVID, but unfortunately there's not much else to talk about because the rest of the world has just gone COVID crazy. Let me get the right page up, and we'll click on this one here. Did I just press that twice, did I? Right, okay, let me share it back to Todd again so he can see what I'm reading. Yes, so there was this paper, this research funded by what was it, America? This is the left wing, isn't it? The Red Party, the Republican Party, and it is what they call a minority report, as opposed to a majority report. I thought I put myself on screen so that there's somebody here. Okay, so the origins of COVID-19. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk about this primarily is the fact that, yes, this is a minority, it's been funded, and research has been done. This is like validated research around the globe, right, by a number of different organisations, and there's no disputing the actual timeline of events that they talk about in this report. Yet the majority of the people around the world are still quite adamant the fact that the viral load that we're dealing with happened in a wet market in Wuhan, right? Yet nobody has ever been to bring up any substantial proof or any sort of scientific evidence that it actually happened. It's just hearsay. And of course, being obscured by, it's been occluded by China's government because they don't really want to have the world, pointing the finger at them, because it's all about saving face as opposed to solving a problem. And just like we have the saving face thing, this is what we got in Thailand right at the moment, the saving face issue, right? They purchased a Chinese vaccine, it doesn't do the job, and now it is sort of backtracking and trying to save face so they don't look like that they're a bunch of mindless jerks. But yeah, China's the same way. It's part of their culture. Right, so you're never going to get any real evidence out of China. All I know is the fact that other reports of certain scientists in the Chinese labs disappearing, right, never to be found again. They just disappeared. Just jumped in a time warp to the future. I don't know. Anyway, scrolling down to the reactionary report. Now, this is validated research. It's all been quantified, put together to actually make some sort of semblance of a timeline. And let me see if I can go through. Where is it? I've got to go down here. Okay, so the appendix. This is the actual timeline of the WIV lab leak and the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. In April 2012, 6 miners working in a copper mine located in the cave in Yunnan province of the People's Republic of China fell ill, aged between the ages of 30 and 63. The workers presented to the hospital in the Kunming. Is how to pronounce. I've got to try to forget if I don't pronounce these names. Don't hold me to account of this thing. With persistent coughs, fevers, head and chest pains, breathing difficulties. 3 of the 6 died. Late 2012 to 2015, researchers from WIV collected samples from bat caves in the cave. From 2015 to 2017, these people jointly published research on the isolation of a novel coronavirus. They conducted gain-of-function research testing novel and genetically manipulated coronaviruses against mice and other animals expressing human immune systems. At times, they collaborated with Ralph Barrick. I don't know quite who Ralph Barrick is. The rest of the article goes on. In 2018-2019, Shi and Hu and other researchers at WIV infected transgenic mice and civets expressing human immune systems with unpublished novel and genetically modified coronaviruses. July 4, 2019, the People's Republic of China, I just go on PRC, it's probably easier, Ministry of Science and Technology orders a review of all several grants, including grant number 23FY113500. This is a grant which funded the collection of hundreds of coronaviruses and bat samples from the cave. The WIV published a tender requesting bids to conduct renovation on the hazardous waste materials treatment system at Wuhan Lab. The closing date was July 31st. Late August, September 2009, one or more researchers became accidentally infected with SARS-CoV-2, because it wasn't called COVID-19 back then, which was either collected in the Yunnan cave or as a result of gain-of-function research at WIV. They travelled by metro in central Wuhan, spreading the virus. September 2012. This is not December, this is September. At 12 a.m. local time, Wuhan University issues a statement announcing lab inspections, because obviously it's escaped, so they're going to inspect the lab, aren't they? Between 2 or 3 a.m. WIV's viral sequence and sample database is taken offline. Right, so they knew something was going on. They pulled down the data, get rid of the evidence. This is fact. It's not made up. This is fact. Anyway, September to October, car traffic at hospitals surrounding WIV headquarters, as well as the shuttle stops for the WNBL, showed a steady increase before hitting its highest levels in 2.5 years. Beidou research terms for COVID-19 related symptoms increase in the search terms, right? Beidou search terms for COVID-19 related symptoms increase in a corresponding manner. Late October, early November, the international athletes return home carrying the virus around the world. This is why it was found in America. November 21, a 4-year-old boy from Milan, Italy, develops a cough. His samples will later test positive for COVID-19. So this is a good month and a half before China sort of says there was a virus. So it's all colluded. Everybody's telling bloody big fibs. Anyway, samples of wastewater collected in Brazil that were later test positive. So that's found in Milan, found in Brazil. December 1, the CCP's first official case. Then late in 2009, General Chen Wei arrives in Wuhan, taking over the Bezos lab. December 27, a Chinese genomic company reportedly sequenced most of the virus in Wuhan, and the results showed similarities to SARS. Why can't he say his name? A doctor at Hubei Provincial Hospital and integrated Chinese and Western medicine tells PRC health authorities that a novel disease affecting some 180 patients was caused by a new coronavirus, a new cold virus. Yes, so we've got to sort of tell it's a cold virus. It's a cold virus. It's a coronavirus. I'm sorry. Wuhan Municipal CDC organised expert teams. So December, doctors at Wuhan report tested SARS. Local case health WHO officials in Geneva, and we wonder. It just goes on. You know, this is fact. It's not made up bullshit. This is definite empirical fact. And yet the world wants to continue with this bullshit fucking line of fucking denial from China. Anyway, I can complain bitterly. I said we're all starting to feel a little bit locked down now, and we just would like the whole thing over. But let's wake up and smell the roses, right? This is a load of bullshit going on now, and quite frankly, there's no amount of vaccines that's going to fix the problem anyway. And they're trying to bury this report. Sort of saying this is a minority report coming out of one side of American politics. Well, they've come up and they've funded the damn thing. They wanted some answers. They got answers, right? The rest of the world doesn't seem to want answers. They just want to sort of seem to lock the whole world down. It's bloody crazy at the moment. It really, it's getting out of hand. Anyway, so I thought I'd just throw that out there, and let's have a discussion about it. When of course I missed everything going, there's a whole tirade of stuff going on. West Coast I would bet Warren's hard in money that Wu flu is mad made. The Wu flu. Is that what they're calling it now, is it? Good morning, countdown. Thailand's little nomad. Yes, countdown for you guys of falling away. The days are falling. Okay, right, Mark. Yes, yeah. So when are you getting at here, Mark? You said last week when you were coming here.
I think it's mid-September, was it?
Mid-September. Okay. You bet. Okay. You're gonna love. Yep, you're gonna love. Good day, 3Js. How are you doing? Ndalo, Mr. Mitch. Good to have you join us. Good morning. Paul in Sydney. And did the major drug companies like Pfizer fund the China labs to make C19 virus, and it accidentally escaped into community and spread the world as we know it? Then Pfizer et al. Made a lot of money. Well, that's the way it seems, doesn't it? Whether the escape was accidental or, well, they want to, you got to look at the pharmaceutical industry. Ever since the West, since America started releasing CBD and cannabis, for general consumption, their bottom line for what do you call it, anti-inflammatories and other drugs that they've been pushing down people's throats for the last 20 years, the numbers were on the table that they were losing money. And you can see that definitely in the financial reports. If you go back and look a couple of years in the stock markets for these big companies, they started losing money. You got to ask the question. I always just have a simple thing in my life. If you want an answer, just follow the money. Where's the money going? Who's controlling the money? Where's the money flowing? There's your answer. G'day. He's just good.
MVD's on us.
There you go. Watching him come in. G'day, Mark.
G'day viewers, how are we?
We're good.
I'm still getting the hang of Discord. I don't know what buttons I push, and then all
That's
of
all
a
right.
sudden I appear. Oof.
Yeah, well, that's it.
There
You peer vertical, and you got to go horizontal. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
I just had a flashback. It was the Paul Hogan show.
Paul Hogan's.
How you doing?
G'day, viewers.
G'day viewers, yeah.
So what we call you? We're going to call you Hogs, or we're going to call you Strop?
Just don't call me late for dinner.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the 18th September. 18th September.
Okay, so it's all happening.
And I got my passport back on Wednesday with that Thai stamp in it.
Mm-hmm.
So got to be happy about that.
It's interesting the fact that you're saying 18th. You know, when I came here in the 2016, I got here in the 21st of September.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be doing visa renewals about the same time every year.
Yeah. So, mine visa is stamped for the 8th of August, or wherever I put my passport. I don't know, I've lost it already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, around about that time. So yeah. So next thing is I've picked a hotel in Pattaya to do my ASQ. It's got a balcony overlooking the beach, and I'm allowed to go out onto the balcony. So it should get a little bit of fresh air. So that'll be nice.
Yeah. So the problem I had when I got here and I wasn't aware of it, you got to be careful when you walk through and they stamp your book. Make sure you look at the stamp that they put in your book. Make sure it has a stamp for the 12-month, not the 1 month or the 45-day stamp that they're putting in the book at the moment, right?
Oh, at Suvarnabhumi?
Yeah. When I went through, they stamped me for 30 days. I had to go to immigration to have them fix that shit up, right? Which was the first of my challenges getting here. I just wasn't aware of the fact that, although you open the page and show them the freaking 12-month visa, you've got to make sure that they stamp it correctly, because it's what that stamp that they put in the book is the 12-month from that day. And if you actually bounce out, you said the 8th of August, so if you bounce out on the 1st of August to Malaysia or Cambodia or Laos, you can come back in on that same visa, and then they'll stamp it for another 12 months. Right.
All right. So the next Thai lesson I'll have before I get over there is 1 year visa. 1 year visa.
Yeah.
I'll learn that bit of Thai.
Yeah, so Tim tells me the fact that he did it right, because he knew about that thing when he got here. He knew about this situation. It's not the visa is obviously your entry visa issued in another country, but when you get here, it's the actual stamp is what they give you, and as long as your visa is valid, right, they stamp the book for 1 year, right? So it's 1 year, from that stamp. But then, of course, you still have to remember to get back to the immigration, in that time, that stamps to make sure that they did the renewal properly. But yeah, it's one of those sort of things. Not many people know about it. Well, I think they do enough. We've done videos over the last few years trying to explain it. But yeah, it just seems a bit odd that's the way it works. But you can effectively get 2 years on a single visa. Then again, I think Australia now has a 5 year as well, so you can actually get what they call the OX visa. It costs you 5 times as much, but they'll actually give you a 5 year visa.
But yeah, I think you've got to sort of show your superannuation or something along those lines. And I don't get access to my super until I'm 60, so I've still got a few years to run, another 5 years to run before I can access my super. But yeah, I'm happy with the visa I've got. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the OX is a different income stream and a different deposit in a Thai bank.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it is an option. Yeah.
Yeah, it is an option, but you are correct, Wazza. It is a lot more expensive.
Oh, I've just seen Mayor Groves. He's saying that I should grab at least 20,000 baht in cash they've been asking, like, all right, good advice, thank you, Robert. I'll probably have to grab that in Australia, obviously. So I just have to suck up the rates in Australia, because I find at the airport that you don't get the great rates at Tullamarine, but anyway.
I don't think it actually. I'm not quite sure, but I haven't heard anybody having problems just showing the fact that they had cash in their wallet, right? So coming with like $20,000. What's that? That's
$1,000, $800 or something.
$1,000, yeah. So 20.
Yeah.
Having $1,000 in your wallet would be the same thing. So you just pull it out of the ATM on your way through.
Well, I suppose I can do that, yeah.
And they said that you can convert it at the airport. They've got little counters there. As long as you got the money, it says, well, if they wanted to say where's your spending money, pull out $1,000 and just say, well, I'm just going to do it over here. Just point, because they can see from where you're checking in or what they're doing the visa, that stamp. The thing is just on the other side of the wall,
Yeah, and that's normally my first port of call. Is I get through immigration and I go straight to the ATM and grab a handful of cash. So
yeah. Is it,
also, do not take your TM6 out of your pack. No, I remember that one. That's the one they give you, Robert. Yeah. I basically sticky tape that one inside my passport. I hate to lose that. But I did download. I've got a T8 here. So I'll ask Robert, and I know Digital Nomad Thailand's on as well. So I've got a T8. So it says here my address. Is it my ASQ address or my address after I leave ASQ?
T8?
Yes. Oh shit, whatever that is.
Yeah.
What's a T8?
Well, so the T8 is, please fill out the following blanks. It's my name, passport number and address in Thailand. Please list the name of the countries you last stayed within the last 2 weeks. No, I don't have to worry about that. It's Australia. And it's basically, I think it's a health questionnaire because it also asks, do you have any of the following symptoms within the last 2 weeks? So diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, fever, rash, headache, sore throat, jaundice. Don't think I've had that since I was about 6 months of age. And cough or shortness of breath or enlarged lymph glands or tender lumps and other, please specify. So I think it's more of a health questionnaire as the T8. So, but it wants an address. So I don't know whether it's the ASQ. So what's Tom said, just showed my visa, your Rayong address is needed, not the AS. All right, beauty. Thank you, Tom. Address form is TM30, which your hotel. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that one, Robert. They do that every time I've come over, so that's all good.
Okay, well, all I can say is it wasn't sort of something when I came in 2016. It's a new form. But given the number, it's obviously been forever, but it's just only just now being enforced.
They've got another one here as well, which is declaration form, which is basically exactly the same thing. Goes through my name, passport number, email address, residence outside of Thailand, residence within Thailand, details of a contact person, family members, relatives, close friends or colleagues. Well, it wants their date of birth, their passport number, their nationality. Oh, and details of contact person too. All right, so yeah, can do all that.
Well, I really couldn't say. Knowing the way things work here, I would hazard a guess it'd be the ASQ address, because you're coming through. This is being presented at immigration. They want to know where you're going to. I would assume that it's your ASQ address. Not.
So I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to fill out one for the ASQ address and one for my address in Rayong.
Have both ready.
Yeah, which one do you want?
Don't confuse them. Yes. Or make it that will confuse them. Sorry, you got two.
Well, my tie's reasonable enough that I can say ASQ or home. So.
Okay.
So what's Robert? TM8 form is normally used for your re-entry permit. Okay. I mean, I've never had to fill what is the TM the one that the one that you get when you first. No, that's the other one you said. That's the TM30.
The T7. That's basically. I've still got mine. This is from 2016. That was the flight stub, the departure card.
Yeah.
It's still stuck in my passport. And of course, the girls doing the what do you call it? I got to go. 30th of October is when I got to go back for my 90 day. But they're now stapling that inside your passport as well. But anyway, it's just the way it works. It's all right. Your passport only lasts 10 years. I think the pages start falling apart from all the what do you call it? Staples that they put in it. I know my last passport, the page was starting to get a little bit worn from all the staples.
So I always wondered about that because I was always told you can never do anything to your passport. You can't write in it, you can't staple things, you can't stick it. It's an official document, yet, you get a visa from Thailand. First thing they do is whack a staple in it. So.
It's just the way it works. You don't ask these questions. Right. As long as you have plausible deniability, I'm sure it comes down to. I did not staple it. Well, who did? Well, that was the person at immigration at Thailand. They did it, not me.
Yeah. So when Peter Dutton comes after me, when I come back to Australia, I can say, go back to Thailand, mate.
Yeah.
We did it over there.
That's it. That's all you can do. I didn't do it, and you can take a lie detector test, the fact that you didn't do it. Give me a polygraph test. It wasn't me. But there's some strange rules. We have one planet, and we've got all these rules about going from point A to point B.
Yeah. I really enjoyed your video at the big bikes. As soon as I saw that, I downloaded them on Facebook and looked at their website. And now for every night after having a couple of beers, I'm sitting there trawling through their list of bikes that they've got. So,
well, as I said, I will go back if you pick a couple of bikes out that you saw in the video or in the list, we can go down and see if they're still on a lot. Todd was just saying he was searching for the Vulcan there, and that was posted. You said April, so that you think it looks like it's been sold. So we can't have a look at it, but I do plan to go back and print out the page, right, showing the Vulcan was in their list on their page, and this one, I'm looking for this one. Could I have a look at this one? My friend wants to buy this one. Is it still here? It's on your web page. I just went to the web page out and see if I can confuse them with that one. But it looks like I could not see it on the floor, so it's more than likely been sold. But so we got that happening.
They like their purses though.
But they're
purses, but I don't like that body shape.
Yeah. So we've got obviously our what's that? That's Big Bike Society. The other big bike over this way here is called D Big Bike. I did a video on that one about 4 years ago. That's on Ramasong, so Tunnel Ramasong, along Auto Alley there. There's a big bike dealer over there as well. That was actually where I saw my first Kawasaki Vulcan. I knew about the Vulcan, but I'd never actually seen one up close. So and that was a 2016 model, done it all in black. So it was a custom paint job. But yes, I could go down there and sort of do a run through there. But if people are looking for bikes, they need to know what bikes I'm looking for, because it's just like a kid in a candy shop. Oh, I like that colour. Unfortunately, they don't let you test ride them, so that's a bit of a problem.
I like those Kawasaki's, Todd. I don't mind this. It's a bike that I would have thought 10 years ago that I'd never see them on. I've always had, CBR 1000s. I've had a Ducati 996. I've had dirt bikes, DR 400s and stuff like that. But I'm too old really to be sitting over a sports bike with my chin resting on top of the fuel tank nowadays. So
Yeah.
I like the idea of the twist and go. So Dave from Gotta Love Thailand's got one of the new 350 Ferozas. I like the idea of that, but I think maybe I just want something with a little bit more punch that I can drive legally on the freeways, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you need a certain size CC to get onto the motorways, don't you? Is that right, Warren?
No, motorways at the moment, the law is still basically the bikes are not allowed on the motorway.
So even your bike?
Even my bike, look, I've seen them on the motorways, but again, I'm not quite sure how they're getting on. If there's a toll gate, you invariably won't find bikes on the toll roads. But if there's no toll, these elevated roads, they're supposed to you're not supposed to go on the elevated roads for whatever reason. I think there is some sort of bizarre thinking, the fact that you are susceptible to wind gusts on the elevated roads. This is the reason why the elevated roads have been banned for motorcycles, because of wind gusts. And wind gusts can throw the motorcycle up. And I can appreciate, yes, if you don't know how to ride, yes, that a wind gust can be problematic. But why Thailand? I've seen elevated roads everywhere else. Like they don't ban motorcycles across the harbour bridge, do they? And quite frankly, the wind gusts on frickin' Harbour Bridge, I've seen some radical wind gusts on there. Big semi-trailers going across the bridge and cross 3 lanes because of a wind gust, and tipping over on 2 wheels, one sort of side of wheels. But they don't ban motorcycles from the Harbour Bridge. And I'm pretty sure that they don't ban motorcycles on the elevated roads in America either. It's just Thailand for some reason, and they're using it as an excuse, and I don't know what the excuse really stands for. There's a lot of pressure that now that they've got the big bike license, right, which means you know how to drive and you've at least driven for 3 years. I think that's the thing now. They're bringing in this 3-year rule. When you get your license, you can ride. The kids can ride up to 400 cc's. They're trying to bring that down to 250 cc's, and they have to hold that license for 3 years. Once you've held that license for 3 years, then you can get the full license if you do sit another test sort of thing. People who have already got motorcycle licenses, we've got in this as well. My bike is registered in my name. When I go to renew, I will automatically just show. All I do is show on my papers that I've owned that bike for 4 years, right? And blah blah blah, and then they'll automatically give me the upgraded license because I'm over 25 or something, and I've been riding the bike for the last 5 years. Whatever. But yeah, that's basically the way it's going to pan out anyway. I don't have to worry about that for another 3 years yet. So was it 2016, 18, 2020, 21? So just 2 years. So I still got 3 more years on that license before they ask the question. Anyway, what am I missing on the thread here? A lot of conversation going on. At Mark, somebody coming through to Bangkok was so easy. Apparently the guy is threatening a very well-known blogger, even emailing the man's mother. What are we talking about? No?
There must be some drama on YouTube.
There's always drama on YouTube.
I don't know, Mitch has got a nose for it, he can sniff it out.
Paul was asking...
Mitch is amazing. We've got to do a big shout out to Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitch does an amazing job.
He loves...
Good.
Yeah, put your PayPal account up there so people can give you a fiver. Send you a beer money. Buy you a beer. Buy Mitch a beer. put your PayPal.
Well, he's about.
When he gets to Thailand, I will definitely be shouting him a brew or two at Susie's. He does an amazing job.
Yeah, exactly. So Paul's asking, Paul, can I ask, why are you going to Thailand from Australia now when everything is closed in Thailand? What exemption did you get to leave Australia?
Oh, is that for me? I
That was
guess, or-
that was asking you that question, Paul. Yeah.
Oh well,
Um,
so I missed that. Sorry, Paul. Well, so I'm 55 and I've retired, and I've got a long-term partner in Thailand, and so that's where I want to spend my retirement. Yeah, look, it is closed, but listen, I live in Melbourne, and we're about to go into here's the nod for you right now. We're about to go into our third week of lockdown. And Sydney is heading for lockdown number 5 or number 6 weeks in a row. So I'd rather be in Thailand with my partner, enjoying my retirement, than sitting in Australia doing bugger all. I'd rather do bugger all in Thailand for the time being. And then this is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
This is, in the scheme of things, this much. So life will get better for all of us. So,
Yeah,
and I want to enjoy the good times in Thailand, my friend.
I think the basic comes down to the fact that
Good
if you're gonna be in lockdown, you want to be in lockdown eating Thai food. That's it. That's the answer. You know? You know,
Oh yeah.
lockdown at McDonald's every day is just not going to cut it.
Or paying $23 for a pad thai.
Oh
No,
yeah.
never.
Yeah. Pad Thai, guys, Pad Thai only costs $1.50. If you're paying any more than $1.50, you're in the wrong country. That's it.
Well, yeah.
So,
No, I'm similar to what Mark said.
It's
I'm
long
similar to
term.
what Mark said.
Yeah.
long-term
long-
planning. I mean, you know, you watch Warren's videos, and he started planning this 15, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well.
So for a long time he's been planning it, and he's
Well,
had-
Thailand only came on the scene as a retirement destination after probably my second or third trip to Thailand, which was 2005, 2006. Because my first trip to Thailand, I think I tell this story a few times. I was here to set up the. We're starting a office here in Thailand. Elgin, he hired 2 rooms in Servcorp on Silom Road there, just across from Patpong. Right, I think it was a 23rd floor from memory. And they just said, Warren, grab this gear, go and organise. We've got a line coming in, right? Be here and get it all set up. So I was over here. I was planned to be here for 5 days to set up the internet connection and make sure everybody got settled in. Got to the airport, landed in Dongmueon because Suvarnabhumi wasn't open then. Landed at Dongmueon, right? I didn't have a clue. It was the first time I'd been to Thailand. I'd stopped at Bangkok airport a few times on my way around other places, but never got out of the airport. This is the first time I get out of the airport. Didn't have a freaking word of Thai. Nobody there to meet me, and all I had was an address, the Greenwood Hotel or something. And this kind Thai guy walks up to me and says, "Could I take you to your hotel?" He, sort of in a broken English sort of form, and I'm going, "Yeah." And he says, "I have a limousine ready for you." And I thought maybe somebody organised something. So okay, fair enough. It's all on the company dime. So jumped in his little black Toyota sort of, I think, was it Camry or something similar. Okay, it wasn't a limousine. I was expecting a Mercedes or a BMW, but it was a Toyota, black Toyota. Anyway, it cost me 700 baht to go the 5 kilometres from Dongmueon, probably 8 kilometres down the road. And I thought, oh well, it's not my money. Arrived at the hotel, right? Got out of the taxi and just my first breath of the air around Silom there. And oh my God, this place stinks. Because where the green, you'd have to see the actual plate location. There's a clong that runs down that main road. It's you've got to know the area. And I almost died. Got inside the hotel, and of course the air conditioning's on in the hotel, so the smell, slowly dissipated. There's Day, was it what's his name? Just trying to remember. Is it Craig or? Darren. There's Darren inside the hotel lobby, And he waves at me and says, "Warren, come on, we're ready. We knew you were coming. Blah blah blah. Check in. Here's the keys." We went up to went up to my room. He was a room across the door. He says, "Shower, get yourself changed. We're going down to Pat Pong." That was it, because I just arrived at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, We've got to pop your cherry sort of thing, Oh my God. That's the first and only time I've ever been to a ping pong show. I never want to see one of those again, honestly.
Well, I'll put my hand up. I'm yet to see one. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I'm yet to see
where they put those razor blades, I have got no idea. But yeah, if you have, obviously I'd seen the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, so I knew what a ping pong show was, even though they don't actually show that part. You just see the ping pongs flying around the room in Priscilla. Your imagination goes a bit wild about where those ping pongs come from. But yeah, to actually see it happen, the chicken laying eggs comes to mind. Not the prettiest sight in the world. And then, of course, remember, if you go to a ping pong show, always put your hand across the top of the glass like this, because invariably, right, they will land in your glass. That's it, A bit of an education.
That's something, if you're aspiring to be a medical student, you've got to go there first to see whether or not you've got the stomach for it.
Yeah, but it's the razor blades. That was where they put those razor blades. How does that work? They just do something. I'm sure they shove it up there and then pull the string out. And just this string of razor blades comes straight, and you're going, "Oh my God, how do they do that shit?" I don't know. So that was the first and last time I'd been to a ping pong show. It was an eye opener. And I keep on threatening Chanya that I'm going to take her to one just so she knows what it's all about. She knows the stories, but she has never actually seen it live. And I keep threatening I'm going to take her one day. But yeah, so yeah, it's up to you. That's what all I can say is up to you guys. But that was my first night in Bangkok. But we actually walked from the Greenwood. I'm pretty sure it's the Greenwood. I'll have to go to my maps. Hold on a second, just bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Scrolling out. Sathon.
Yeah, so Mr. Mitch is
Evergreen. The Evergreen L'Oreal Hotel, Bangkok. That's what it is. Oh. Right, and so it's N Sathon Road, so I guess in North Sathon Road, and there's this Klong Sathon. That Klong is just outside the door of that hotel, and it's, well, in those days, I think it's cleaned up a bit now, but that Klong, God, I almost was dry reaching when I got out of the taxi. Got out of the hotel to go, and we actually walked from the Evergreen, through the back streets up to Ceylon Road, and again, I think there's another Klong on the way through as well, or basically the sewers, and I'm going, how does anybody live in this area? Mind you, that was my first trip. All I remember from the first trip was doing the work and smelling that shit and seeing a ping pong show. Thailand was not on my list of destinations at that stage. But then I had to go back. 6 months later to do some upgrades, and I stayed there for a week or a week and a half. I can't remember exactly how long it was. But that second time there, I got to do a couple other things and got to see a bit of the city and a few of the other sites, and second time around the smell didn't worry me so much. It's sort of this is a different country. I sort of got over the initial shock. Third time there, I pretty much by the third trip I'd fallen in love with the place. It's more the people. Like you're going from an office building, right? You're in an office with 200 people in that office. Well, probably in that stage, I think we only had 100 people working for us in that stage. But you get into the office in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. Everybody's haven't had their coffee, grumpy. You've get the idea. The typical Australia white collar worker. They'd all want to be rather somewhere else in their life. So you have this day in, day out, and you come to Thailand and you go into the office in Thailand, everybody's happy and smiling. So, good morning, lovely bunch of girls in the office there. They all just wanted to see the foreigner. So you get to meet these, white collar, lovely Thai girls in the office. They just make you they don't actually made you feel welcome, in the office. Now that never happened in Australia. Walking in on a daily basis, having the girls, happy to see you. It's a mind freak that most people never get to understand. And so you get that, and you go on Office Australia, Office Thailand. Oh, come on, I've got to get back to the office in Thailand all the time. That was my goals in life, was just to have a week of happy people. It grows on you. But people don't realise that was my introduction to Thailand. By 2000, halfway through 2010, or by end of 2010, not 2010, well, 2007, 2008. By halfway through 2008, I'd fallen in love with a place that I'd really felt that Thailand was a destination I could achieve. But then again, we were going to the GFC, and I was doing my sums, and look, I could do it now, I could do it now. I couldn't take that money, but I had the money. If I did this, and I did it, just all the sums came together. Then, of course, when the divorce went through, we settled. I was going to sell the house, but then, we would. What do we do with our daughter? Well, okay, well. The GFC, the whole world's gone to shit. I will take care of Sarah, right? But we'll have to defer the selling of the house, all that sort of stuff, and do that. And John and Angie agreed with that, so I was left looking after Sarah until Sarah left home. So and basically, my superannuation got killed, because that's what happened. And of course the other things, and of course one thing led to another. It was another 5 years before I could really make any sort of other plans outside that. But anyway, I finally got here. I met Chanya in 2009. That gave me a reason to be here, and and everything. The focus was just, single guy, 8 years in a house in Australia, doing nothing, squandering away his hard-earned dollars. And living a nomad lifestyle. Basically go to work, do your thing, come home, go to work, and I lived virtually online. I didn't hardly went out. I think once a month was about my deal. Once a month I would get out and go and see real people outside the work environment. And probably not every month either. It depends. Some months just couldn't be bothered. Because
I knew I wanted to be in Thailand. It's when I hopped off the plane and got onto the walkway at Suvarnabhumi saying, "Stand clear of the walkway, ding dong, stand clear." And I knew I was home. I knew I was home. I'm easily amused, and that amused me. And then when I went into the 7-Eleven and all the dings, that was it. I was sold.
Yeah, there we go. But you'd probably seen a lot of videos. So I think back in 2016, 2015, when I started to really make those final plans, I had 20 Seconds in Thailand channel. I had 8 Miles from Home, Darren B3. There was the occasional Sunny video because I think he'd gone private by that time, and JC. Retired cheap JC. Well, they were really the only real channels. Oh, and there was what was the other guy? The Dead Farang. He was another one. So there was only really six real channels doing Thailand content back then. Not a big choice. It was sort of the things seemed to explode around 2016. More and more channels coming online, or maybe just the fact that more and more channels were presented to me, because I'd been watching the other ones, and their algorithm changed or something, and I started seeing some more people doing vlogging. But it was actually not. I had no plans of doing vlogging when I got here. It was my mate in the office in Australia who said, "You've got that.
End of the walkway.
Yeah,
That's sorry,
it.
Robert.
It's been
18 months. It's been 18 months. You've got to forgive me. But no, I'm new to YouTube. I didn't discover YouTube until we probably had our first lockdown last year. I mean, I've been a member for years and years, but that was because, I don't know, you just signed up on something new when I was at work one day. But I've never really started watching Thailand vlogs until last year. So I'm relatively new. So I went back through some of your old stuff, and you find some of the ones that you mentioned and watched a little bit of theirs. But I'm a newbie. 2016 was my first visit, and that was for work on my way back from 3 months in Germany. And I really hoped that we would get the contract to work with the Italians to upgrade the light rail system out to Don Mueang Airport. But in the end, the French didn't want to work with the Italians, so that got kiboshed, and I came back to Australia thinking, I'm going back to Thailand next month. 26 trips later, and now I'm going back for the last time for a few years anyway. So now I'm a newbie.
Yeah. I was just looking at the comment from Dowlow from about 8 minutes ago. I reckon those ping pong shows aren't following OH&S standards. Yes, I've seen the darts popping balloons. You could lose an eye. Tell me about it. And if you're feeling really brave, then put the freaking balloon on your head. See those darts flying out from that location into this balloon popping up. Mate, it isn't even, seriously. And Mossy, same memories as you was. Back in the late 80s, they made whole Coke bottles disappear. Oh my God. We've got to love Thailand.
I've seen that in Australia actually. I've seen traffic cones disappear as well. So.
No.
But they found that particular woman dead underneath the Westgate Bridge a few years ago. So, but anyway.
I said, Robert, no YouTube or mobile phones or internet when I first came here. Wish there was, would have made life easier back then. Oh, look, we don't realise how much the internet has improved our lifestyle. If it's used correctly, of course. I think the millennials and the under 30s have really got no idea. Been sort of having. I was just saying before we started, just some websites. Who's writing this crap that's on the websites? I was on a website last night that I've got a login for this XSplit Pro, the XSplit VCam. Trying to just do a simple thing, logging into their website because I want to look at their broadcaster software. Oh my God! There's no login button, right? And you're going, who? Did they ever product test their websites? And I think Psychos said no. It's not about testing websites and writing good code anymore. The people who are writing websites these days are all marketing geniuses. It's all about marketing. It's got nothing to do about actual proper written code anymore. And I can quite appreciate. I fully understand that now. These kids have got no idea. I'm glad I'm only here for 20 more years. God. The shit that's coming out on the internet at the moment is just driving me crazy.
Oh, look, when I found out that you can have the internet and you can use it for more than just porn, it just blew me.
I know. It's it.
It can be used for good too. It's unbelievable.
Well, porn is good.
Oh, there's a search engine. Oh my God.
Porn is good.
I'm not saying porn's not good, but the internet can be used for
other
more
things.
Than porn.
Yeah, that's it. It can. That's right. Oh, which brings me. I've got another article I was going to run up as well. Where are we? So, is that where it was? Getting back to the whole situation with. There we go. And I'll share it to you guys as well, so you can see it. Screen share. This was on my feed from my Twitter feed this morning. We don't know if we'll survive. Thailand sex workers left struggling as COVID-19 lockdown drags on. I think what a good one to talk about right now. Huh? I like the stockings. They look pretty sexy. Anyway, Bangkok for Anna, the walking street of Pattaya is more than just a famous red light district. It was her workplace for the past 12 years. God, she'd probably be long in the tooth now, wouldn't she? 12 years in. Well, that'd put her at 32, 33 years old, or maybe a bit younger, but at least probably 32. I was here among the rows of nightclubs, bars, massage parlours that she and other sex workers welcome tourists from around the world. Many people have built their lives here, and others came to seek a better fortune. Today, the walking street of Pattaya City in coastal Chonburi is no longer a place of entertainment and opportunities. Night entertainment venues that had provided many jobs for many sex workers are shut. There are no bright neon lights at night and no pumping music. Tourists have vanished since the last year when COVID-19 pandemic hit Thailand. It's so depressing, she said. Who is known along Walking Street by her moniker. So, as said Anna, who is known along Walking Street by her moniker. I guess that's because that's her name, Anna. Does that make sense in English? I don't know. Anyway. Well, just the way I read it. Nowadays, by 6 p.m, Pattaya looks like an abandoned city. There is hardly any sign of life on Walking Street. Why do I keep on doing that? Walking Street, this makes me want to cry. The place used to generate income and build a future for so many people. Anna is among the hundreds of thousands of sex workers in Thailand believed to have lost their main source of income to the health crisis. According to Swing, I don't know what Swing stands for, a local foundation that worked closely with people in the industry to promote their rights and well-being. Okay, the pandemic has seriously impacted sex workers, but of course, prostitution's illegal. What's this? What are sex workers? I thought that prostitution was illegal in Thailand. Anyway. Many of them worked at night entertainment venues. However, the government has ordered the venues closed several times since last year, believing that they could potentially spread infections. Hundreds of thousands of people working as sex workers to support themselves and their families suddenly became jobless. They haven't been taken care of by the state or received any relief money from more than a year now, said somebody, director of Swing. It's hard to imagine how they can survive without an income, given that most of them live on daily earnings. I'm wondering what they're doing across these days. It's a bit of a shame. Anyway, it just goes on. I thought it was an interesting article to break them, and we're talking about the young girls on their plight. Our first experiences of the industry. That industry is now completely shut down, which is a bit of a shame.
But people focus on the sex workers, they focus on the girls, but what people sometimes fail to appreciate is that the bulk of the money that the girls have gets sent back to back to their villages to support family members. So.
Well, that's it. Well, they don't do it because, there are a few. There's a small percentage that just enjoy the work and enjoy being with a different guy every night. There's no doubt about that, as long as they get treated right. And as opposed to the stories you hear in the West, the plight of the girls on William Street, it was Oxford Street and down Darlinghurst in Sydney. And I'm pretty sure it happens also in America as well. The plight of the girls that work in those places. Every third or fourth trick, they run a chance of being beat up because of the misogynistic behaviour of the male population who frequent those joints. Yet you don't really hear of it over here, which I find. Does it happen? I'm sure that it must happen at some sort of level, but I never see articles. I never see posts around about such and such a girl was beat up by a trick. It's either being suppressed or it just doesn't happen, or it's so very, very rare that it doesn't make the news. But it used to make the news in Australia, or in Sydney at least. It used to make that sort of news every few weeks, about this and that happening, and you'd only have to walk down, William Street or Oxford Street, and get a feel of the fact that I can see how it happens, because it feels really like. Not like it does in Thailand anyway. Unfortunately, the Hellfire Club is on Oxford Street, so I got to experience the walkthrough every week, every month to go to the Hellfire Club. Hellfire Club is pretty cool.
We had a Hellfire Club when I used to work in a 24-hour electrical control room. There was a Hellfire Club directly opposite. We went in there one night. It was a great night.
That was in Melbourne?
Just to look.
I believe the Hellfire runs in Melbourne as well. I think it's run by the same people. So
I don't know where it moved after a while, but I don't know where it moved to. But it was up in Carlton, up in the northern part of the CBD.
Yeah, my Melbourne friends used to tell me about the fun and games that they had at the Melbourne Hellfire, and we used to compare stories because I thought Sydney people always thought the Sydney Hellfire Club was better than the Melbourne Hellfire Club, but then of course the Melbourne people would say the same thing about the Sydney Hellfire Club. So 6 of 1/2. It just depends on what was available, I guess. But we used to like the Hellfire Club. It was a proving ground for places like. There was a few other more underground BDSM clubs we used to go to, but you had to be seen and got known at the Hellfire Club before you got the invite, because it was invitation only. And that's when the rubber met the road. That were the things like the Chamber. I don't know if anybody knows the Chamber. They used to go to the Chamber.
No.
That was a good Hellfire Club.
The what?
But the Chamber. It's called the Chamber.
Okay.
And it's invitation only, and you got added to once you got proven to be an upstanding citizen at Hellfire Club, then you'd get added to the mailing list. But you couldn't go anywhere to get on the mailing list. You had to be at the Hellfire Club to get on the mailing list. And of course you go to those ones and you get invited to other ones, and really different lifestyle.
Yeah, we were told we were overdressed when we tried to get into the Hellfire Club in Queensbury Street in Carlton. What do you mean overdressed? Take some of your gear off.
I used to go.
Nightclub ever.
I used to go in with what we called my Matrix jacket. Everybody used to call it a Matrix jacket. I said, didn't you ever watch the movie? Was it Underworld? It was the Underworld jacket. The full length, leather. You remember? So what was the girl that played the lead role in Underworld? I'd have to look up that one. Yeah, but it's full length leather jacket, and usually depending on maybe I'd wear jeans sometimes, depending on the nights. In summer you wouldn't wear leathers, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I was definitely sort of definitely overdressed in some respects, but because it was leather, it didn't matter. You can be overdressed in leather. Okay, that's the rules. As long as it's leather. But yes,
we got a bit scared and backed away. So, don't forget, I was a timid young boy from the country, so.
That'd do it.
I was not up with those things in Chapel Street.
And then of course.
Hellfire Club.
And then of course this this book came out called 50 Shades of Grey. And oh my God! The people that came out of the woodwork that suddenly found a new pastime of dress-ups and the whole place, the whole vibe just changed. Almost over, in a space of 2 or 3 months, Hellfire Club went. I don't even know how you describe it. All the pretenders turned up. They'd read a book called 50 Shades of Grey, and everybody's now an expert on BDSM, really. Still sends shivers up my spine, but anyway. Such is life in the old days. Sort of things I've been missing. Paul in Sydney, Coke bottles disappearing. How do they word that in the job description? PTMD, sup people? How you doing, PT? We're just having a chat amongst ourselves, as we do. With it 11:15, we've got 45 minutes. Yeah, just reminiscing of the old days of Thailand. Will the old days ever get back to? Will we ever get back to the old days of Thailand? I don't know. The way the world is shaping up these days is looking more and more like we're never going to see the old days again. I don't know. What's your opinion?
Well, you know what? The world bounced back after World War One. The world bounced back after World War Two. The world will bounce back after COVID. Will it be, 2019, or will it be the world in a little bit something different? I mean, I read an article from Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand, saying that air travel and travel to New Zealand will never be the same again. But she is starting to think about opening up to tourism next year, I think, if you can prove that you're vaccinated. So, and that's New Zealand. I mean, who have been locked down just as hard as Australia has. They're starting to consider it. But she said that it will not be the same as what we used to. So, things will have to open up. It won't be going on forever.
Dallo, I thought 50 Shades of Grey was a documentary on being colourblind. Yeah. Hi boys, has anyone been to Isan planning on checking out Karat? There is a Facebook group. Billy, if you hit me up on my Facebook account, I can give you a link to the Facebook group. They talk about all things, Isan up there. I know I'm a member of the group, I just don't really pay much attention to it because I never get up that far. But lots of discussion always going about what's happening up in that area. I don't see anybody on the YouTube really talk about Karat these days. There used to be a few people up in that area. I've got my mate Bob, who's built a house up there, and he was talking about, they're putting a new expressway link through there. And they didn't put through his house, so he's quite happy about that. But it's life is getting on pretty much. It's currently rice cutting season again. I noticed that out the back of our house, the harvester was running through the field yesterday. So we've had nice green pastures for the last few months, and hopefully I'll get out with my phone and I'll do a bit of a walk around the neighbourhood. No, I won't do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Do a walk around live stream tomorrow, probably at 5 o'clock Bangkok time. So I still got some light. That is. I'll use the 4G connection to see how well it runs. But as I said, it looks like they only stream at 720p, so I should be able to stream without any sort of hiccups. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll do a bit of a wander around, just show you our neighbourhood. We did our house last Saturday. We'll do a neighbourhood walk this time. Not much else to do, apart from I got some footage in the can, so we'll see how that goes. So we took the bike down for the service yesterday. Day before yesterday. Yesterday was a public holiday, so we took the bike down for service. So they did it while I waited. Good lads. So that all went through quite nicely.
So Sri Jazz has just asked, I guess he's asking me a question because I'm going to do my ASQ in PATS.
Yeah.
There's a website, 3Jazz, that the Thai government put up with all of their ASQ, and there's another name for them as well, ASQ and alternative local, ALQs, alternative local quarantines. All the hotels offer Wi-Fi. And then I can only go by the reviews. So the one that I'm going to do mine is, out of 20 reviews, there was about 2 that said Wi-Fi dropped out. They all offer it, but whether or not it's decent, I can only say that you can go by the reviews. So if Elaine is still on, he's in ASQ now up in Bangkok. Maybe he can give everybody a bit of a rundown what his Wi-Fi is like up there.
Well, we chatted with Cody when Cody was in ASQ, and he didn't really seem to have any issues.
But I think he was on 4G. He wasn't using the local loop.
Oh, okay.
The problem they got here, like from a technical, I sort of put my fucking technical hat on. The problem with the hotel Wi-Fi's is they tend to use the provision that they get from, you know, the provider like 3BB or True or something, and they don't put professional equipment in. Like, I paid a small fortune when I put the Wi-Fi in network in our office in Sydney, or both times we put the office. I put proper. I think the first time I went and did a full Netgear rollout because they wouldn't give me the budget for the Cisco. It's always you always got to get it past the accountants. So I put a Netgear with 12 hotspots through a single floor, but it was what they call a seamless, point-to-point roaming IP address. But that cost a few $1,000s, to put that system in, with probably $10,000. When I went and put the Cisco gear in, which was a far superior product, that was upward of $25,000 to put the Cisco Wi-Fi network. Again, on a single floor. What gets me is the fact that they don't do that here in the Thailand in the hotels. They're either giving you sort of they've got hotspots, and they'll give you a login to the floor that you're nearest to a hotspot, and that's got to get through the concrete, and it can be really quite a hit and miss. Then again, some places will, some of the more upper class hotels will spend the money and put a proper, what they call complete, IP roaming, proper full, something like Huawei or Cisco or some reputable brand, so it becomes a single login, single sign-on sort of type of roaming system, and they've actually got proper Wi-Fi coverage throughout the whole hotel. What you're getting, it's a real hit and miss, and they wouldn't know what sort of system they have. The only way to do this is just talk to people who have been in that same hotel. Was that hotel any good for your Wi-Fi? And it goes on word of mouth. But again, it's usually the last thing people want to talk about when they do hotel reviews, because they wouldn't know what they're talking about. You can get little things like on your phone. You can get little Wi-Fi analyzers on your phone if you know what to look for. You want to know a good Wi-Fi?
That's where I'll plead ignorance, because I don't know what's good, what's bad.
I will send you a link. I will send you a link for a good Wi-Fi analyzer. What do you got? You got an Apple or an Android?
No.
Mark, what do you got? Apple or Android?
I don't want to tell you.
You got Apple. You got Apple.
He's got Apple.
I don't know. I can only send you a link to the Android version of a good Wi-Fi analyzer. Sorry, because I don't know what. You have to talk to Todd about that one.
I'm happy to help you out, Mark, anytime. Hit me up, mate.
And
Todd, mate, I don't want to get into a whole thing with Warren, so I'm not going to tell him what type of phone I got.
Hey, Bryce, how you doing? There he goes, looking.
Guys, how you doing?
Looking quite sunny there, where you are.
Cheers, boys.
What do you got? You got the yellow
water.
Thai yellow water.
Yes, mate.
So-
I've got the old Corona Extra.
So Billy's just asked a bit of a question on how to get to Thailand in the current climate. So my process, Billy, I'm happy to help you offline if you want to go, but first of all,
Come to
you need
Discord.
to.
Come to Discord and chat about it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll put my email up there, Billy. If you're interested, you can send me an email, and I'm happy to help out. I give Todd a few clues too the other week. So.
Well, I just upgraded your account there, so you can actually post links into the chat now.
Oh God, Warren, you're stressing me out, man.
No, it's just it's only so you could post links. If you don't have the little spanner, you can't put a link up there. But we don't allow links unless, of course, it's from a moderator. But yeah, okay. Billy, could we cover off how to prepare for a move to Thailand in the current climate process and paperwork. I don't know. I'm probably not even the slightest bit helpful these days on that one. I've been here for 5 years.
Well, between myself and Mark, we'll be able to set Billy on the right path.
Planning still, the planning sort of stages of what to bring. That's always an interesting one. People are always asking me, what should I, do this, should I do that? And I quite still believe that, I made the right choice. I reduced my life down to 2 suitcases of 30 kilograms each, or 25 kilograms each, right? If it didn't fit in those 2 suitcases, it was not coming with me. Everything was just either sold, given away, or thrown out. And it was really, it reminds me of that sketch from, the sketch called Stuff. What's his name? George Carlin does this sketch called Stuff. I probably can't play it for you because it's probably copyrighted. But yeah, if you've ever seen George Carlin's Stuff, I'm pretty sure I can find that for you easily. George Carlin's Stuff.
So, where's everybody at on this channel at the moment?
Melbourne.
Oh,
Adelaide.
El Paso, Texas.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, it's currently about 10:30 here. I used to live in Melbourne, Florida, funny enough.
Oh, okay. Whereabouts in Melbourne?
Melbourne, Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Not.
Yeah, it's about 40 miles south of Cocoa Beach, about an hour from Orlando.
You don't sound like an American.
Thank you for the compliment. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm from England originally. Been over here about 21 years. Spent some time in Thailand and just getting my shit together to come back.
Yeah, but getting that thing, there's the link there to George Carlin's Stuff. It's a 5-minute sketch. No, I just think it's as funny as all hell. It's really sums up how I dealt with the whole stuff issue when I left. And it is declutter, and just declutter your life. And then basically you're coming for a new life here. And the best way to start a new life is clothes on your back and maybe your laptop in your bag, right? It is a refreshing way to look at life. You're starting a new life. Let's declutter. And as I said, I'd been in my old house effectively for 55 years. So it was apart from the fact that, the couple of years I spent out flatting with mates, I spent all my life in my house in Australia. I kicked my father out of the house. But yeah, you can imagine the shit that we had in the house, like not only my shit, when my father moved out in the late 90s, he only took the stuff that he wanted. He decluttered as well and left it all in my house. You had to throw that shit out too. But yeah, you just got to declutter is the best way to go. Just unless of course you plan on bouncing backwards and forwards, which I know a lot of people have to do. Just get rid of the stuff. You don't need it. You can't take it with you when you die. And we are going to look at the fact. Wake up to the fact. You're going to go for coffee, okay?
No. Robert's going for a beer run, so I'm
is
empty,
he?
Robert. So
Right. He wants some yellow water too.
I need something to go into my stubby holder, buddy.
He wants some yellow water.
Don't care if it's Chang, don't care if it's Leo. Just make sure there's one in the fridge.
Also, I've been double vaccinated. I actually got an email yesterday because I applied for 2 vaccine rollouts. One was done through the business consulate. That was the one I registered for the first time around, and then of course the second one was done through another consulate or another rollout, which I got reply from 24 hours later that I was, to turn up on this day. The first one, which was almost a month ago, right, I got an email from them yesterday, sort of saying, rock up tomorrow for your vaccine. I've replied to them and says, I've already been vaccinated. Thank you very much for your prompt response to the questionnaire that I filled out a month ago.
So you've only it's a month, and they're already telling you to come in for your second.
No. This was I'd done the application at 2 different locations.
Oh, okay.
So Yeah, so the first one was done through the business college or bureau or something or other. I have to get on my email to find out exactly who it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the second one was done through a different section altogether.
Yeah. I had my second one done on Wednesday, so no side effects, no nothing, no sore arm, no headaches, no nothing. It's just the same as the first. Didn't even know that I'd been pricked. So.
Oh, so Bryce, you managed to get all the extension cables, did you? If you can still hear me, he's got his ears on.
Sorry, mate. You still there?
Yeah, so I said, did you get all your extension cables?
Yeah, I did. I got shitloads of them, mate. I could actually run this thing outside now.
Well, there is a physical limit for most of those cables. I think you can only really go 3 meters. Otherwise, the impedance drops off to the point that things start breaking down. But I'm sure you'll find that out soon enough.
Yeah, I got a 10-footer on the camera and a 10-footer on the headset here, and it seems to work great.
Oh, well, that's still working. They're very good.
Like $5 each. You can't complain of that, can you?
You can't complain.
I was trying to figure out how to mute this mic because I've got a load of allergies right now, and I don't want to hear people. I don't want you guys hearing me go.
I couldn't tell you. Some of them come with little. They have a little lanyard switch on them sometimes.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't have it.
This has. I thought I'd muted it. I switched over to the test audio thing, and let's just try this. Tell me if you can still hear me now. Hang on. Right, can you still hear me?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the button then, is it? All right. One more. Let's try this.
Okay. Well.
No, that's the one. That's
the one.
The one.
Okay. Good.
Right.
Don't forget, and then of course you'll fall into Oggie's problem, the fact that he keeps on forgetting to turn it back on again. So he says he has a 5-minute conversation with you, and you're doing something else, and then you see his mouth moving.
He gets upset that he doesn't think people are talking back to him.
Why are you fucking ignoring me? What's going on?
Exactly.
So sorry, the other two fellas at Melbourne, and the other chap, where you at?
I'm in Adelaide, Australia. Bryce.
You're in Adelaide. So you're both planning to go back to Thailand?
Yeah, so I'm leaving on the 18th of September. Permanently.
Where are you heading to? Bangkok first?
No, I'm doing my ASQ in Pattaya.
Okay.
It's psychological. It's psychological. I live in Rayong, and Rayong to Pattaya is 45 minutes. So in my feeble little mind, I'm a lot closer to being in Rayong than if I was 2 and a bit hours away in Bangers. So it's all purely psychological for me, Bryce.
Right. Well, whatever works, mate.
Whatever floats my boat, yeah.
Okay, Billy's asking, any words of wisdom of migrated to Thailand? I would just say a word of wisdom I would give is probably spend a little bit more time on your Thai language lessons before you get here. Now, I have got in my Discord channel, I've got a thing there called Thai language stuff. It's got links to all my stuff that I collected over the years. You're quite welcome to jump in there and help yourself to what I've collected over the years. There is one series that I did use regularly before I came here, which was the Pimsleur Thai. It's 30 half-hour episodes, audio lessons. Which when I was learning them, I had on a little MP3 player. Do you remember those things? They're called MP3 players. And I don't think kids these don't even know what an MP3 player is these days. But I remember, I started listening to that stuff probably 2007. Had it on a little MP3 player, and I'd put the headphones in with a cable down the MP3 player, press the play button, and going to work and back, listening to this Thai language stuff from Pimsleur Thai. It was a good preparation because I can really hear a lot of Thai. I hear a lot more than I speak. Because again, the last thing people wanted to see on the train when you're going to work and back was people talking Thai to nobody. It looked a bit stupid. One of the things, that's the bit of advice I'd give, is the fact that if you're going to do audio lessons of Thai language, you need to vocalise. You need to get the process of, there's a half-hour thing, find yourself a little quiet space and actually say the words that they're talking on the thing, so that it read very much parrot fashion. I just wish I'd probably done that more than I did now. Of course, I'm over here now, and I've probably just been slack now. I should probably go back and do it. Get better and better. But just that I'm planning to get out with Safar probably next weekend. Well, we're going to do a bike ride together. I'm just going to do a couple more preparatory things with my audio equipment. So we may. Safar, he goes to his nickname in America would be Bolt. His channel is Hey Kids, It's Dad. It's a small channel, and he does rides around. And he talks about all sorts of stuff. It's only a new channel on the block, but I actually quite enjoy listening to him. He actually speaks Thai. He speaks Thai really pretty good. So, we can probably go out together, and he can do all the talking, and I'll do the recording. So you never know. But yeah, that's a bit of advice I've got. Get some Thai language skill under your belt. Even if it's just knowing how to direct a taxi to your hotel, Trong Bai, Leo Sai, Leo Kwa, Yutone Cup, things like that, that helps immensely, But yeah, what else? What other clues we got?
For me, I have a notebook. I have a notebook, Billy, and I write down common phrases like "mai ping rai," right? It's okay, or Tabadi May, so how are you? All these little things, and then I look at the notebook and I can repeat them and basically learn parrot fashion. But the advice I was given a couple of years ago is it's hard because it's all just characters. But if you learn to write a little bit Thai, you can start to identify the characters, and then you start to see the words, and then you start to hear them in your head. So, but the challenge is to find good expats. I think you've started the journey, Billy. You join a channel like Warren's, where you've got like-minded people like Todd, like Bryce. You'll find a few of them, of these channels, and then eventually, we will be all expats eventually. When we all arrive in Thailand. Thailand's not that huge where you can't meet up occasionally, but Pattaya and Bangkok and Chan Am provinces and Samui and Phuket, huge expat communities in all of those places. So
interesting comment there. How do you snap or deal when you get jaded?
Flow, mate. Just go with it.
Sabai.
Just let it go over your head, man, because you are in Thailand, and no matter what you think is the right way or the proper way or this is etiquette, you're in Thailand. You're in a different country, different culture, and just don't argue with a Thai. You'll never win. Never ever win an argument with a Thai person. Better to be sabai. Just let it go. Walk away, my friend. Walk away. If you get a snap or you get jaded or you get ripped off, put it down to, they got me this time.
A lesson.
Yeah, a lesson. Yeah.
Now, okay, I do. We all know of Google Translate, which is probably the most common app that you'll find across all the platforms. But this is what I use for helping me with language. It's Thai to English. Now, the best thing about this particular website is it gives you phonetics. If I can actually bring it up on screen, just give you an idea. And I'll share that back to the audience as well. So put the other guys here. Screen, go here, go live. Now, of course, what I need some sample Thai to work with. So let me go to my YouTube for a second. Yeah, I'll get to that bit. Okay, so let me just go to my feed. I'm just going to try something.
Spot on, Shannon. Spot on. Yeah. Spot on, Shannon. It's a very tonal language, and you can say "sabadi mai," right? But if you don't get the tone right, someone's going to look at you and you think, I just spoke perfect Thai. But someone Thai is going to look at you and go, what the hell did you just say, mate? Because you haven't got the tone right. So but they reckon English is the hardest language to learn in the world. So if you think of that, and we all speak it relatively fluently, learning Thai is just a new chapter in your life. And when you're lonely, thoughts, hobbies, what you want to do in your retirement in Australia, you can certainly do that same in Thailand, my friend. So I'm a skeet and trap shooter. I'm a golfer. I ride motorbikes. I swim. I can do all of those things in Thailand. And I still, I live in Rayong, 45 minutes from Pattaya, and when I'm over there for extended times in the last few years, I'd go over for 2 or 3 months. Once a week I'd go back into Pattaya, and I'd go to a pub where I know expats are, and you can sit down there and chew the fat, as we say, And I've got a few friends in Pattaya and Jomtien as well now, so just by putting yourself out there, my friend, just put yourself out there.
Okay, getting back to this language. Now, this is an example. I just pulled that bit of Thai off an advertisement for a bike shop, Honda Big Wing Rama 3, right? And their comment on there was this one here. This is the thing that gets me with Google Translate. They're using what they call ISO standard for translation of the characters into some sort of formal language, which is really hard to read, and you can't get the phonetics. But obviously you can do a translate, and you sort of say, okay, what is translated? Because we want you to try it, was what they're saying in that particular ad. But if we actually go to this particular website called Thai to English, right, it actually gives you what they call a Romanized Thai. Pro rao yak hai kun dai long sai pat sa sam pat, and then of course then it goes down to breaking it down. Pro, right, rao, because we, yak, want, hai, to give, kun, you, dai, to, long, sample, to try, samprat, to touch, to gives you the, see how it breaks down. And this is a good way of learning, recognizing the Thai characters, how to say them in English. And as I said, you cannot work out what that says there until unless of course you press the play button, right? But here you can actually sort of break it down, and it's one of probably the most used websites that I have in the time I've been here. So I've put the link up there for you, so bookmark that. You might find that really, really quite helpful along the overall learning process of learning Thai. Anyway, let's get back to that one.
No, good advice. Good advice.
Shannon, the biggest mistake I made was not learning to read. Yeah, okay. And I only know about maybe 20 characters of Thai language I'm reading, and the common ones. And the fact that there's 5 characters that sound like the K sound, and you go, oh my God, can't we have just one character for K? But yeah, you get the idea.
Goes to what you were just saying. By understanding some of the characters in Shannon's other point, you get to identify the tone markers, and then how you can accentuate either lower or drop the pitch or the tone and all the rest of it. So, and again, to read just a little bit. And
it's not that people focus on the characters. Yet, as you saw when that broke that down, Thai language is a what they call a syllable, right? They're a combination of a consonant and a vowel is the actual word, and they're groups of either 2 or 3 characters together. And after reading it so many times, you can start to see there's certain characters go with certain other characters and certain vowels. And when they write their language out, it's just there's no spaces. You don't even know where to break, and it can be quite confusing especially for me. Not looking for that. Where's that break in that sentence? And because then when they speak it, they just speak it in such a way, the fact that it just flows out. And of course, I grew up learning to speak Scottish, in my adolescent years. It always reminds me of the Scottish language,
Yeah, but nobody can understand the Scots anyway, mate.
That's it.
Not unless you're pissed. Not unless you've had a few.
Yeah, you get a skinful.
Anytime you speak to a Scotsman, you think they're always angry or want to fight you. When they're actually just saying, "Hey, nice to meet you," but it sounds like they want to take you outside and smack you in the
They
mouth.
fight you. They want to fight you.
Yeah, can you whack 'em? Yeah.
You're off your head. Anyway, I
Yeah.
apologise that I swore earlier. I didn't realise you were on YouTube, so I won't do that anymore.
That's right. I'll just probably just demonetize the stream. Not that you make Anyway, you can always hit the super chat down below there if you like this stream. You want to keep us doing this and stuff. Hit the super chat, guys. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't done already, I have to ask why you haven't liked the stream. You're still here. I know I hardly ever look at this stuff now. It's where's my stream? Go back to my page. There we go. We are still running there. 23 likes. There we go. All good. Don't forget to like the stream, guys. And bloody ad playing. Stop that.
A little bit of good news, actually. I've got a friend of mine who runs a motorcycle touring company out of Pattaya, and they're currently on a trip up to Chiang Mai and that big route that goes around Chiang Mai. So they've travelled all the way up from Pattaya, and they haven't come across any roadblocks. They've been able to freely, travel between Pattaya and Chiang Mai. I don't know how far that is, but one of my concerns for coming out there is going into ASQ in Bangkok or Pattaya, and I'd like to go up to Chiang Mai, and it seems right now, from what you read, you can't travel freely around the country. Well, apparently that's not so. So that's good news.
Yeah, I think Shannon is talking about there, like that Thai translation. Yeah, what you'll find on all the language schools and everything else, they teach what they call a formal Thai, which, quite frankly, over the last 5 years, I hardly ever hear. You have to start to read Facebook and jump on some Thai groups where Thai is being used, and then start looking at how things are talked about in Thai between Thai people to get a better feel of the actual language. Like I think you've typically a Thai lesson would come up, and Sawadee Krap, they teach us Sawadee Krap, right, for when you're meeting somebody, Sawadee Krap. But I hardly ever hear that used in general public. Unless, of course, it's a young person talking to an old person, where it's a very formal hello. Between people, it's just what you crap, it's just like, it reminds me of the Australian language, g'day mate, So it's sort of good morning or hello, how are you, right, which is, Sawadee Krap, it's like g'day mate, which is what you crap, that's the best way to think about it. Everything's shortened, like the Thai language is shortened anyway, just the way they try to describe anything. But when it gets down to the actual, person-to-person Thai, they shorten it even further, and it can really sort of do your head in. And what you sort of see in the street is not what you get in these language classes. But the language classes still are a good background to know the fact that if you do happen to, be talking to, a person in the brown uniform, it's probably a good idea to talk formally to them. Because they're the ones writing the ticket.
You might end up in a brown uniform.
Yes, that's right, exactly. So,
I think they're orange, but not that I know that very well.
Yeah. Orange is the new brown, come on. Orange is the new black, wasn't it?
What
And
about
then you've got your different dialects as well. I mean, Islam's, if you're up north, it's completely different dialect to Bangkok Thai as opposed to, say, Isan Thai as well. So.
Yeah. My mate Charles lives up in Esan, and he's always on about that. It is a completely different language. And and mother, she's Sukhothai. She's Sukhothai, born and bred. And she speaks northwestern Thai. and it's a different language again. And you know, I still to this day have trouble understanding what she says. But you know, we make do, and you know, we've got a sort of language. It's not as good as the language between me and Chanya, but at least we're working on it. But I just got to sit. I really do. I just need to sit down and stop playing games and to make a habit of doing an hour's Thai lesson a day. If I was to spend an hour's Thai, an hour a day doing my lessons, I could become pretty much fluent within probably 6 months. I just need to have the dedication to do it. But there's so many good games out there. It's so hard. It is really so hard to take your way out, take your mind off playing games to actually do some real study. Oh my God!
There you go, Billy. There's an answer for you. Warren
Yeah.
hasn't got enough hours in the day, so.
To make it work.
If you go to a Thai restaurant and you don't speak Thai and you can't read Thai, how difficult is it to order what you want?
Well,
This is to do it.
yeah, well, yeah, no. In reality, normally I don't have the Google Translate app does have a picture taking function, so you can actually hold the camera over the menu, and it will automatically translate. And if it's having difficulty getting a stabilization because the characters and the thing that it tries its hardest, you may actually have to press the photo button to actually take a still shot, and then you can wipe your finger across. It's not easy for me to show that, but because I don't have any Thai sample in front of me to actually show you. But the Thai translation app does me quite well, because even now, so although Chanya speaks Thai, she does half the things on the menu. She doesn't know the English equivalent words, so we still have trouble trying to order. She knows what I like, so I find it just as good to get the Google Translate out. You know, put it across the menu, right? Press the button. Oh, okay. I can see pad Thai there, because she wouldn't think about I might want pad Thai today. She just knows what I like. I don't eat pad Thai all the time, but this menu has pad Thai. So, out of all the things I can see there, I might want to have pad Thai. I can then just say, oh, it's got pad Thai. What about kalpat mu? What about this? What about that? You know. Genkiawan, you know, I can see it on the menu where she's not thinking about what I want to eat. Whereas, you know, I can see the words and I say, well, maybe I'll try that today. It does really help us out in all those situations. So that's about the best advice I can give on that one. The Google Translator. I don't know if there is a Apple equivalent. Is there an Apple equivalent?
I use Google Translate.
Yeah,
I use Google on Apple phone, so.
Yeah, I know there was a
My
big
phone.
there was a big push a few years ago about I think Apple were trying to push out their own mapping service, which highlighted the fact that Apple really didn't have a clue. But you know, and then I think Apple then turned around and sort of made a contract with Google, and now I think the Apple Maps it now uses Google Maps at the back end or something, from what I understand, because they just couldn't get it.
I use Google Maps.
Do you? Yeah.
Google's my friend. Yeah.
Google's your friend. It's all right. It's just the way it is. You know, you give them all your data. You know, they know where you're going next.
Most of my data.
Billy, is it a good idea to create a YouTube channel? How do you learn? That's a good.
Billy.
Okay, you've first got to have a thick skin. The only advice about a YouTube channel, you need a thick skin if you're going to go up on YouTube, because everybody will tell you their version of life, you know, and you soon get over it. You know, that's why we don't have a big channel, because I don't get too facetious with these idiots out there. But as Lee and Todd, you know, we've got a pretty much a good understanding, right? There is a thing called IQ, right? The average IQ of the human race is 100. Just on a mathematically statistical average, right? 50% are dumber than that, and this is what we have to deal with. So that's just math for you. You just got to understand that shit, you know. And you've got to realise that probably 70% of the people, the YouTube audience, probably come in that sort of under the 100 IQ. Thankfully, our channel, we managed to acquire the smaller percentage of people who are over 100 IQ. That's why we have a small channel, because it's an intelligent channel, not like the TikTok shit you see out there.
Yeah. Billy, if you want to do it as a hobby, mate, fantastic. As long as you keep it in your head that it's a hobby. And as Wazza said, you need a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's going to be a water off duck's back. And if it's something you want to say, right, I want to do this, and you can switch your mind off it when you need to, as a hobby, go for it, mate. That's if it's going to keep you occupied for a certain period of time, and it's going to keep you energized, go for it.
Yeah.
But there are ass kickers out there that just do it simply because they want to kick someone's ass.
Yeah, try and stay off politics and try and stay off religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I started my channel in 2009, and it was only really a place to record and people could put my memories when I remember to take my camera with me, right? You know. Because 50% of the times, oh, I'm going to Thailand. Oh my God, the battery's flat. Oh, yeah, I'll just leave it alone. You know. But yeah, so I did 40 videos between 2009 to 2016. They are up on my members section of my if you're a member of the thing, I can give you links to the stuff. It's all right. But yeah, it's just, that's where it is. It's just YouTube, you know. And I had for that length of time, from 2009 to 16, that's 7 years. I had a total of 20 followers. 2 of them being the 2 guys that sat beside me at work. You know, they were regular viewers. They just wanted to see what I was doing on my holidays, and I was doing it for them. You know, doing it for them and for prosperity. You know, I wasn't looking for making a big YouTube channel, but I needed somewhere to host them. You know, so that they could see it. You know, and it was only sort of the guys in the office that said, "You need to, you know, make videos of your life when you're out there, when you're going to Thailand. You're leaving here. We want to see what you're doing. You know, we've spent the last few years, you know, in each other's pockets, effectively. You know, like three guys in the IT engine of the organisation. They were losing a left arm. You know, they wanted to know what I was doing." So I started making, you know, like weekly videos instead of, you know, whenever I felt like it. And they were very appreciative. Unfortunately, a few other people also picked up on the whole idea, and they liked what they saw and started giving me some encouragement. Within about sort of 6 weeks, I had 100 subscribers, and then I think Cowboy Ray did you know, like he was running a channel back then of what was happening in Thailand. And he announced it on announced my channel on his thing, and went from 100 to 300 subscribers, and that's pretty much started the whole thing rolling. But that was back then. We don't have a channel like that now, apart from my my Facebook group. If you've got a Thai content video, you can always put those links up in my Facebook group, and, you know, maybe some other people see it and start to watch your channel. But yeah, that's if you want people to watch it. If you don't do all the right things, tags and descriptions and everything else, and decent thumbnails and so on and so forth, and all the education, your channel won't really grow. It's just the way it is. It's the algorithm's very smart these days. Anyway, moving right along. Thought it was a good hobby when it's a hobby. Hobby only, but again, that's other thing to do. There's bike riding. Bike riding is a good hobby.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Doing YouTube with the bike stuff, that gets a bit more difficult. You need some technical gear to get that working. I still haven't got it right, but yeah, I'll get it right eventually. I just spend more money to get the gear right, that's all. I didn't mention it. I mentioned it, Todd. I got the new bracket for the helmet.
Oh no, you didn't.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I got the new. Oh, I have to just turn that shit off. Hold on. Get rid of my background. Where's my XSplit? Let's go to original. There we go.
There we go.
And minimise that. So this is the new mount kit. It goes across the front. I guess it puts the camera right in the front, which means I can now take that off. I can put a different bracket on there, and I can actually mount up the Sony as well.
Awesome.
So that gives me a secondary input feed for the microphone, because this one here has a condenser mic and there's no way to feed the audio into the camera, which is why it's always muffled, because it picks up the low vibration from the motorcycle as opposed to the actual voice, and I have to do a bit of mixing on the edit when I do that, which is why I don't do it that much, because I like to have a little bit more clarity in the audio. But yeah, so got that done. It seems to be on there pretty good. Looks fairly stable.
Yep.
So the bike's been all cleaned up and ready to go. It's been serviced. I was going to get out there and do a run probably tomorrow, and just do another round the block. Just do some more testing. And then of course I've got to find my labial mic for this camera, of course. Once I find what box I put that in, I'll fit that into the mic, fit that into the helmet as well, and see how that goes. Excuse me, and compare the two. Anyway, we are wrapping things up quite quickly here. So as I said, stay tuned for, I think tomorrow night. I think I'll do a walk around tomorrow night in the soy, show all the buildings and everything else. Show the probably at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's 7:30 Thai time, Australia, mid Australia time. Don't ask me to. Thai time. GMT +7. I can't.
We're smart enough to work out time plus 8.5, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah. So, oh my God. But yeah, so I'll get out of my comfort zone. Mind you, if it's raining, I won't. So the trouble is, we normally get rain about that time in the afternoon. So we'll have to just see how that pans out. Anyway, I'm going to get out of your face. I think we've had another good chat today. This is the format we want to go with for going forward. We're having more people focused, but again, not using the StreamYard stuff. We'll do it ourselves here on the Streamlabs. I think it's just as good for anybody as anything. So I'm happy with doing it and continuing on with that. So it gives us a bit more of a personality to it, and may develop a new audience. You never know. Anyway. I'm out of here. Thanks for joining us, Todd, Mark, and Bryce. So we'll probably stay around. I'll just go and mute them while I go to the closing screen, and we'll continue our chat.
Have a great week, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll get to you, Billy. I've got your link there on the Facebook, so I'll hit you up with that other channel as soon as I put this thing out of my way. Okay, so peace out, guys, and stay cool. And let me get the closing screen.
I want you to lift me up so